Hello, and welcome to drillingcontractor.org. I'm Kelly Ainsworth here at the IADC HSCT conference in Houston. I'm here with Dr. Ranjata Mehta of Texas A&M University, who delivered a presentation earlier this morning. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. What are some of the ways psychological factors can impact physical performance in a high-risk or high-stress situation like an evacuation or escape?
As I said in my presentation, evacuation, escape, and rescue is a non-normal scenario, and an extreme risky one, that too. So in these scenarios, individuals can become psychologically stressed. Physiologically, what that means is that cortisol levels increases, and several studies in the past few decades, including some of the studies from my lab, have shown that stress negatively affects physical performance. It not only affects how well you track things physically. So, for example, your motor coordination, how much you're shaking, tremoring, but it also affects your endurance to be able to do those things. And that has a negative effect, not just in individuals planning for evacuation, but folks who are responsible for rescuing personnel on board. It impacts their endurances as well.
Could you tell us about the study you performed showing the relationship between stress and hand grip strength?
Sure. So one of the premise for the study was that we needed to know what are the neural networks responsible for individuals behaving the way they do under stress when they are both physically and cognitively challenged. What we know from prior work is that the frontal lobe disengages when individuals are stressed. So individuals get to their fight or flight, behavior or syndrome. When we did our study, we simulated physical hand grip fatigue. Hand grip strength and capacity is one of the key requirements for any emergency escape and rescue operations. So we had individuals complete hand grip trials until they absolutely couldn't on one day. On another day, when they were doing hand grip, we stressed them psychologically by asking them very difficult math. We made sure that they were not able to perform as well as they wanted to. So that really stressed them out. What we saw is individuals, on an average, were 25% lower in their hand grip endurance when they were stressed than when they weren't. And that was a significant decrease in their capacity to do work. When we looked at the brain, particularly the frontal lobe, we found our results corroborated with existing neuroscience results, where the frontal lobe actually shut off at the very end when they were exhausted under stress. So this has implications for a lot of different strategies that can be used to improve, EER operations in offshore environments.
How can training be modified to simulate the sort of stress that employees are under in these situations to better improve their response?
So training, one of the key requirements for training is individuals need to be able to retain it in scenarios when it's absolutely necessary. The way training needs to be completed is that it needs to ensure that what the individual is being trained on goes from a controlled process, which is, really thinking about it, using your frontal lobe, to becoming a very automatic process where it's second nature to them. So what we want to do is make sure that training protocols are rigorous enough that they elicit this innate nature of individuals to be able to respond to scenarios and not really rely on the controlled frontal lobe processes. And we also want to make sure that training has this frequency of retention, refresher trainings, if you may, be offered at regular intervals so that it remains an automatic process.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for joining us on drillingcontractor.org.